Joey Badass just startled the hip-hop world again. In a genre long fueled by rivalries and regional pride, he's boldly staked his claim as the King of New York, sparked a wave of reactions from the West Coast, and dropped music that leaves no room for apology. But is this a simple case of lyrical bravado? Or could Joey's latest moves propel him to the top spot in rap? Today, we're diving deep into how one artist might be ready to shake the game by calling out everyone, including a few heavy hitters you wouldn't expect. Stick around because this story only gets wilder with each bar he spits. Few rappers can ignite a coast-to-coast conversation with just one line. Yet on January 1st, Joey Badass dropped The Ruler's Back, a track produced by Conductor Williams and set off a string of debates that hadn't been seen in hip-hop for a while. This particular record began innocently enough, Joey expressing confidence in his artistry. But then he threw a lyrical curveball, too much West Coast dick riding. Though originally a Jay-Z reference from his 1996 track 22 Twos, the line felt like a direct shot at a culture shift he sees in hip-hop, especially relating to New York's lost dominance. Listeners immediately dissected whether Joey was attacking West Coast rappers, criticizing New York for being too nice, or simply challenging the city to recapture its raw grit. Whatever his intention, the phrase struck a nerve. It tapped into long-standing regional tensions going back to the East Coast-West Coast rivalry of the 90s. That period is now legendary, but rarely do we see new school rappers so openly invoke that era's challenging spirit. For Joey to do it was bold, brash, and guaranteed to capture attention. What made it more compelling was how Joey wasn't tiptoeing around the topic. He declared himself King of New York, in the same breath suggesting a new wave of lyrical competitiveness, one that calls for all coasts to stand up or get out of the way. The track demonstrated his raw skill and unfiltered confidence, effectively telling everyone, "I'm here, I'm claiming the throne, and if you don't like it, do something about it." When a New York rapper jabs at the West Coast, you can bet it won't go unnoticed. True to form, several MCs wasted no time stepping forward. Daylight, known for his intricate wordplay and unpredictable showmanship, made a quick comeback with tracks that dissected Joey's bars. He wasn't alone. There were a handful of other West Coast voices who took The Ruler's Back as a challenge. But in an unexpected twist, we also heard from Mick Jenkins, who hails from Chicago. On his track Wars and Rumors of Wars, listeners detected a subtle line that sounded like a shot at anyone claiming a throne. Whether it was truly aimed at Joey or not, the timing was suspicious, and fans latched onto the possibility that Jenkins was adding to the storm. Meanwhile, from Joey's own circle in Brooklyn, CJ Fly jumped in to defend the borough's pride. As a fellow member of Pro Era, CJ Fly fired back at the critics and reminded the rap community that if you come for Joey, you might end up dealing with the entire team. This quick volley of back-and-forth releases showed just how electrifying competition can be, and how quickly lines are drawn in the sand. The conversation shifted from, did Joey say something disrespectful, to, is New York losing its identity because too many eyes are on the West? In truth, Joey's critique wasn't necessarily about attacking the West Coast, but more about rallying New York. Yet if rappers out West decided to respond, Joey appeared ready to stand his ground and answer the call. From its very title, Sorry Not Sorry cemented Joey Badass's stance. He wasn't walking anything back. Produced by Conductor Williams, just like The Ruler's Back, the track once again resonates with that classic New York vibe, wrapped in modern production. Yet beyond the head-nodding beat, the lyrics confirm that Joey is fully aware of the fire he's lit. At the start, he references Marcy, not the legendary Marcy Projects we know Jay-Z hails from, but Marcy Avenue and its surrounding streets in Brooklyn. It's a subtle way of saying, I am from these blocks, I carry this borough, and no matter what you think, I'm built for whatever comes next. He also drops an NWA reference, hinting at West Coast icons while addressing how those same West Coast ears might be taking offense. From the moment Joey opens his mouth on Sorry Not Sorry, it's clear he's proud to be from Brooklyn, determined to put the city on his back, and unwilling to diffuse any of the tension he sparked. It's that brand of unwavering conviction that's rare in an era where artists often play it safe to avoid controversy. With lines like, I know men lie, women lie, but Joey don't, he's essentially declaring, I said what I said, and I'm not changing the record. As the verse builds, there's a sense of accountability woven in. He acknowledges how critics are calling him crazy for stirring the pot, yet he insists this move was inevitable if New York wants to claim a relevant seat at hip-hop's ever-expanding table. His words aren't lashing out randomly, they're an open challenge to see who's serious about lyricism, skill, and carrying a hip-hop legacy forward. J. Cole is often celebrated for his introspective style, chart dominance, and relentless fan base. He's also known for sidestepping direct beef unless it's absolutely necessary, preferring to let the music speak for itself. That's why fans froze when Joey dropped the line, "Might delete later?" I know DM meant sure that Joey won't. To understand the weight of this, recall that Cole once recorded a diss track, rumored to be aimed at Kendrick Lamar, then famously deleted or shelved it, out of respect for their friendship or simply because he changed his mind. By referencing that scenario, Joey effectively positioned himself as someone who won't backtrack or bow out. He's emphasizing the difference between himself and Cole, suggesting that where Cole might waver, Joey stands firm. Was it a direct insult? More like a pointed observation. Still, calling out someone of Cole's caliber could escalate things if Cole decides to respond. On the other hand, many speculate that Cole is unlikely to jump into a full-blown lyrical exchange over something that isn't outright disrespectful. After all, Cole has cultivated a reputation for being a laid-back leader of Dreamville, a family-oriented label and a champion for conscious rap. But in a world where even subtle references can ignite an inferno, no one can fully rule out the possibility that Cole might feel provoked enough to deliver a verse addressing Joey's claim to New York's throne. Joey's confidence level is at an all-time high, and the risk of calling. Whenever there's talk of top-tier lyricists, Kendrick Lamar's name naturally surfaces. Widely hailed as a modern-day great, Kendrick can rattle the entire industry with a single verse. So when Joey teased, "Cat got his tongue," he'd been missing all week. Fans couldn't help but wonder, is that a subtle jab aimed at Kendrick? In rap culture, it's often understood that if you truly want to claim the throne, you have to dethrone whoever is widely viewed as the top competitor. Since Kendrick dropped his iconic Control verse claiming to be the King of New York, fans have fantasized about a head-to-head collision of lyrical masters. But up to now, direct friction between Kendrick and Joey has never really escalated. They've both got mutual respect for each other's artistry, at least publicly. Still, Joey's line about the cat being away might be his way of saying, if the West Coast wants to step up, it should send its reigning champ. That's the kind of confident energy that could either be seen as an open challenge or as an acknowledgement that, for all the quick responses from smaller MCs, nobody with the stature of Kendrick has stepped in. Of course, Kendrick has been famously selective about engaging in beef. Many of his so-called shots are more lyrical exercises than open hostilities. Could Joey's open defiance tempt him to retaliate? Or does Kendrick consider himself beyond the petty exchange of disses? If the latter is true, Joey might have to outdo Kendrick's track record, rather than rely on a face-to-face clash. In previous eras, a bold claim to the King of New York crown would have triggered an immediate wave of diss tracks. Veterans and up-and-comers alike would clamor to defend their positions, leading to a city-wide lyrical showdown. But today, the response from within New York has been noticeably muted. One theory is that New York's hip-hop landscape has diversified. Styles range from gritty drill anthems to melodic, trap-infused sounds, and many artists simply aren't fixated on the battle rap ethos of old. The city is vibrant in new ways. Just look at how the drill scene and wave of upcoming female MCs have generated buzz. Joey's King of NY statement may not resonate as a personal challenge for those carving out different subgenres. Another possibility is sheer respect. Despite occasionally flying under the mainstream radar, Joey is widely acknowledged for his lyrical strength. Many local artists might actually root for him to succeed because his success shines light back on the birthplace of hip-hop. The idea of an all-out rivalry might not seem beneficial if everyone wants New York to stand united against outside competition. Regardless, Joey's boldness hasn't caused uproar at home. This could mean the city is comfortable with the notion of him as a torchbearer, or at least isn't too eager to prove him wrong. That acceptance or ambivalence speaks volumes about where New York stands in 2025. The hunger for that King of NY conversation just isn't what it used to be, and maybe that's what Joey aims to change. At the core of all this controversy is Joey Badass's unwavering desire to see New York shine again. He's from Brooklyn, the home of legends like Biggie Smalls and Jay-Z, two artists who once ruled the rap conversation. Joey's new music seems determined to bring that energy back, direct, unapologetic, and ready to clash with whoever doubts New York's power. He's also aware that he's spent years being praised as a nice MC, without always being center stage in rap discussions. While his projects have garnered critical acclaim, they haven't consistently dominated the spotlight. The fact that people often lump him into a respectable but not at the top category clearly motivates him. By firing shots, referencing rap titans, and refusing to cave under scrutiny, Joey's made himself impossible to ignore. If 2025 is truly his breakout year, fans can expect more than just diss lines. They might see him aiming for a career-defining album that blends classic New York swagger with modern production sensibilities. The hunger in his voice hints that he's not simply trying to stunt on rivals. He wants to craft a timeless body of work worthy of the city he represents. That doesn't mean the battles are just for show. Hip-hop has always thrived on creative competition, and sometimes friction is the fuel for masterpiece albums. If he can funnel the Joey Badass hasn't merely poked a sleeping giant, he's challenged an entire coast, taken veiled swipes at heavyweight MCs, and planted a flag in the birthplace of hip-hop. Whether this results in full-blown lyrical warfare or inspires mutual respect among competitors, it's undeniably stirring up conversation. In an era where streaming algorithms often overshadow real artistry, moments like this remind fans why they fell in love with rap in the first place. Healthy competition can create classic records, unexpected collaborations, and a renewed focus on lyricism. We've already seen how a few seemingly offhand remarks generated fresh verses from both well-known and underground talents. If bigger names like Cole or Kendrick decide to engage, it could trigger a renaissance of penmanship that raises the bar across the board. Even if they choose not to respond directly, the tension might force everyone to push their artistry to new heights. For New York, Joey's claim might revitalize a sense of regional pride and encourage more MCs to stand tall. If that helps unify the scene, you could see a wave of collaborative efforts that highlight the city's complexity, from drill to classic boom bap and everything in between. Instead of bitterness, there might be a surge of creativity, with rappers bonding over a shared desire to restore NYC's rightful place in the spotlight. Yet the big question remains: will Joey back up his bold statements with an album or mixtape that's truly groundbreaking? Calling yourself the king of NY is one thing, proving it on wax is another. The success or failure of his next major release could determine whether these controversies cement his status as a legitimate heir to Brooklyn's throne, or fade into just another hype cycle. In the meantime, the intrigue alone is enough to keep fans glued to social media, scanning for subliminals, anticipating who might clap back, and replaying Joey's tracks for any new clues. As for Joey, he seems more than ready to carry that crown, no matter who tries to knock it off. It's rare to watch an artist so confidently set hip-hop on fire simply by speaking his mind and daring others to challenge him. Joey Badass has escalated from being a respected underground torchbearer to a full-on contender for rap's top spot. He's got his hometown's blessing, the West Coast's attention, and the potential to spark a real conversation about who truly runs this game. Whether you applaud Joey's tenacity or think he's biting off more than he can chew, there's no denying he's reignited a spirit of competition. That energy has always been the lifeblood of rap, stretching back to the days when KRS-One and MC Sean battled over borough pride, or when Jay-Z and Nas took the entire city by storm with their classic exchanges. Now, Joey is writing his own chapter in that proud tradition. As we wait to see if Kendrick, Cole, or any other heavyweight step forward, the excitement only grows. If they keep quiet, Joey's voice might echo even louder, and he'll have the chance to prove he can stand alone. Regardless, this is a moment in time that could reshape how modern rap embraces its lyrical heritage. And whether this leads to explosive lyrical showdowns or a renaissance of artistry, one thing is certain: the conversation has just begun, and Joey Badass is right at the center of it. So keep your ears open and your eyes peeled, because in the ever-evolving world of hip-hop, the only guarantee is that nothing stays the same for long. Joey has laid down the gauntlet. Who's going to pick it up? And if nobody dares, what does that say about the state of rap today? One thing's for sure: this might be the most exhilarating storyline we've seen in years. And if Joey has his way, we've only scratched the surface of what he has planned.